Officer Stephen Heimsness' decision to resign from the force leaves some waiting for more progress. I'm Theo Keith with how likely it is they'll get what they want.
The officer's resignation could help him get a bigger payout. Good evening, I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Michelle Lee. As a result of the settlement, Officer Stephen Heimsness will still be getting paid for months on sick leave. He'll get his pension, and Madison Police won't fight his application for disability benefits. It is the 8th month of fallout from the investigation into Heimsness after the deadly shooting of Paul Heenan last fall. In continuing coverage tonight, Madison's mayor is talking about making changes at the police department. He's talking with the night team's Theo Keith.
Hi, Michelle. Mayor Paul Soglin says the Heimsness resignation has some benefits for city taxpayers, but Heenan's former roommate says today's announcement doesn't resolve any of the issues he still has.
All we have here is what feels like a political resolution. It doesn't feel like a just resolution.
Nathan Royko-Mauer is still asking for an independent investigation into the death of his roommate, Paul Heenan. The shooter, Officer Stephen Heimsness, resigned instead of facing the possibility of getting fired for unrelated violations.
How can you have two Heimsnesses on your force? One that you completely believe and stand behind 100%, and one that you're willing to fire.
Madison's mayor wouldn't comment on whether the resignation was a good thing for the city, but says getting Heimsness off the force was what he and police wanted. Soglin says the settlement will save the city perhaps 6 months spent trying to get Heimsness fired.
Certainly from the standpoint of cost and time, receiving this agreement is beneficial.
Heimsness will get a payout. He'll use accumulated sick leave until November 23rd. He'll get his pension, and he's applying for duty disability benefits with the state, which would pay him 75% of his salary at least until he hits retirement age. Records indicate Heimsness had a base pay of more than $66,000 last year, making another $15,000 in overtime and miscellaneous pay.
I think this is a bittersweet conclusion to his career.
Jim Palmer heads the Wisconsin Professional Police Association and says Heimsness has suffered from post-traumatic stress since he shot and killed Heenan. Palmer says if it weren't for that, Heimsness would have fought Chief Ray's case to fire him over comments made on department computers.
If the shooting hadn't occurred, I don't think we'd be facing the same situation today, and Officer Heimsness would not be looking to retire.
Royko-Mauer's complaint against Heimsness remains in front of the Police and Fire Commission. Royko-Mauer says he's evaluating whether he'll go forward, even as Heimsness resigns.
Do we have any kind of come clean moment here? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it to me.
And that is a separate complaint from the one Ray had waged. Soglin now says he'd like to see an outside agency come in to lead investigations into future officer-involved shootings. He says police are moving forward with plans to clean up a culture of officers making negative comments about colleagues, which is what Heimsness did.
All right, Theo Keith reporting. Theo, thank you.